Hello, finally. We are live, Ryan. I don't know if anybody can hear this. I can't hear Ryan. So I can't hear Ryan. So I don't know what's going on. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Right, okay. So we'll go with that. I can't hear Ryan. So good evening, guys. Yeah, last minute. Simon's had to drop out. So just trying to get everything sorted for tonight. It was a bit of a rush around, to say the least. So we've both got small children that are not dealing with the heat too well. So that's where Ryan's been off back and forth to. So we will battle on. I still can't hear Ryan. He's going to keep going backwards and forwards, but we will plod on regardless. So I hope everybody's had a good week. And enjoyed the Open Championship. What an amazing event. We were all getting very excited there for a minute. Rory was going to win. To be fair, like a good final round, all 18 greens in regulation, 2 under par, beaten by the better man. You would have to say Cameron Smith's putting was ridiculous. So he gained over 11 shots on the field just in his putting, which is like a ridiculous strokes gained stat in itself. So unbelievable in terms of the stats and the bottle that he showed down the last. As soon as you hold that putt on 18, it was like, well, that's game over rules, unfortunately, unless you're going to do something very, very special. But it wasn't to be. I do feel like he will be back, though. There's a lot of confidence, a lot of good finishes in those majors, and hopefully by the time, I know we will say it, April rolls round, then there might be a slightly different story. So we've got a lot of people in the chat. So Richard Hodgett is here, Glenn Taylor, Dad, Gramps, to everybody else. Si's actually in the chat. So I just think he's checking that we're actually all okay, and everything's good to go. So yeah, so we're all good. So as I say, last week's winner was Cameron Smith. So look at him here. Claret jug in hand, just seeing how many beers he could fit in that, and that is officially 2 beers. He can fit two pints into the claret jug over that time. Ryan, are you back with us? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. So I'm not really sure if Ryan's going to be able to pop back and forth. He's in, but I'm not sure if we can see him and hear him. Can we? Oh no, he's gone again. Right, we'll have to do some of the bits for him for this week. So we've got the bottom of the table coming on screen for you now. So Stuart Fisher last, unfortunately, and Ryan quite low down in that order and running. So you've got Adzi down there in the negative again, unfortunately. Domi Rowe and Sav, not too bad. As we get to the top, we're like Gramps, you've got Ed Beaton, which is normally a lot further up. Mark Jeeves, and we got Dad, Softly. So a lot of people doing okay. 13's not too bad, but it does put you in 11th position this week. So 11th place. So let's have another look at the business end. Let's have a look at the business end, and here we go. So a new player winning. So as the Butcher, we've got 165.94. So we must have picked exactly the same players. I've managed to scrape second, and Simon is third, which Ryan will absolutely detest. So Nicky Burgess, we got Marcus had a really good week, 54 points there without picking the winner. David Stapleton again. I don't know who he picked, whether it was the bottom 4 again this week. And then we've got Richard Hodge, Harry, Stephen, and Ben Swanton holding up 10th place on the top of that leaderboard. So our overall weekly table looks like this, and Ryan is going to hate this as this comes across. So I'm just sneaking ahead of Simon, only by a few points there, but Ryan down there on 30. Going to need a couple of wins, but it can change so quickly with a couple of wins in this format. So just going to go across now, and the bottom half of the viewers table. So in here, Adzi, come on, 4 weeks -5. Here we go. Not having a great time of it. You need to get the kids to pick more and more. So we work up. We've got Martin, Julian, Max, Ryan Rosansky. So he played 1 week last week, 7 points, unlucky. So like Sav needs to have a couple more picks. Glenn Taylor down there. So 4 weeks at 18 points, Glenn. So maybe having a little look at picking some outsiders or just picking top half, getting that winner in there. So Stuart Fisher, James Lofts. So some lower scores in this one, but this is where we all want to see who's topping this side. So as we slide this across, Ben Swanton retains that lead. So 3-4-4, an average of 86 a week playing 4 weeks. David Stapleton, 260, 3 weeks. Alistair, so he's got 183, so 61. My dad is up there, so Gramps Trett, so he's in there at 4 weeks at 180. And then we go Eddie Beaton, didn't have quite such a good week this week. And then Nicky, and then Marcus, Richard, Dommy, Harry, Kieran. Kieran, he's always lurking though, isn't he, Kieran? For that last little push to see if he can get in that top spot again going into next week. So, talking of next week, we have the Cazoo Open this week for the next. Glenn saying if there was Rory bottling it. I don't think Rory bottled it. He didn't bottle it. Now, come on. It was beaten by a better person on the day. I don't think if you shoot a couple under at that point, yeah, perhaps he could have maybe been like 4 or 5 under, but he hit so many greens. Everybody sort of looks at that he didn't hold much, but Cameron Smith held more than his fair share. He probably held Rory's share as well. So I definitely don't think he bottled it, but we could do with him getting one done. We can just get in that like monkey off his back, and then we'll be off and running. So I'm glad it wasn't anything that I'd done, Ryan. So I thought I'd pressed the button and muted you, but I obviously hadn't. But welcome. Hopefully this is okay, guys. So it will just be me this week flying solo. So trying to do all the buttons and tell you about everything else. So this week the Cazoo Championship is up in Hillside. So we're back to Tommy Fleetwood country. So this is an amazing golf course. Let's just have a look at some of these pictures. They've had a lot of renovation work done around this golf course. It's a long golf course. It's sort of like inlandy looking links. So really some nice elevation changes. We've got some great pictures coming through. Look at how the banking goes down. You've got the gorse. It's really lovely. Definitely a golf course me and Simon were talking about before that actually would love to go up and have a play of, just trying to get through some of these holes. You've got the railway line running up that side, just like some of the open venues that we've seen before. The pictures when they were taken on this day, absolutely stunning sky there. Lovely old school clubhouse, deep bunkering, and they've rejigged a couple of the holes. So there was a couple that really sort of were quite elevated tee shots with quite a blind. Now they've put some quite nice bunkering in front, and really some forced carries over tees. So if you get a chance, go on their social media, you'll see the renovation work they've been undertaking at the golf club. It's been really good. So this last picture is going to show that nice elevation change. You're coming up into these bolding greens, long fescue grass, and some pine trees about. So a really great mix of holes on this golf course. But the most important question: who is going to win this week? Now, there is no way in the world I'm going to give you any of my picks tonight, because I was still trying to figure out how this all worked, so I haven't picked anybody. But this is the point. Get those picks into the comments, guys. Who's going to win this week? I'm going to put the betting up on the screen. So I'm going to start with the top of the leaderboard first. So let's have a little look at who the runners and riders are this week. So we've got Bob McIntyre, Becker, we've got Lawrence, Ollison, Ramsey, Molinari. So it's a bit of a lower class of field. We would have said maybe this week we were umming and ahhing whether it was going to be 3M or onto the DP World. We stuck with DP World Tour just to try and get us a few more events on this side of the pond before switching back over to a big PGA Tour stint. So next one's up onto the betting. We're going to roll further down. Obviously, Jazz, Jane Watanan, he's on this page at 80 to 1. Paul Waring, so obviously part of YouTube. So we've got Andy Sullivan down there. So lots of past winners. Oliver Farr just got into the Open, following in his father's footsteps. That was a really nice story to have. If you haven't heard that one, go onto the BBC website and have a little read of that. He's following in his father's footsteps. His father slept on a beanbag the night before the Open. Of all things he could have done, that probably wasn't great for his back. So really trying to get into these bigger numbers down here now. Is trying to pick somebody out there like David Drysdale at 400 to 1, or who else have we got down there? There's some good ones on the next slide as well. So David Higgins, look at that, 1500 to 1. Graham Storm, double 3-time winner. Paul Dunn, leading the Open at St Andrews all those years ago when he was an amateur. So some really good quality players in there, mixed in with some of the ones that are up and coming. So where are your picks going? So Ryan is in with Ramsey, Jordan, Southgate and Sullivan, 25 split. Oh, Glenn Taylor, like that pick. So Marcus Armitage, all in. So really, really nice story with him last week. He's spoken about losing his mum. Him and his dad were stood on the 16th green and had a look round and said, look how far we've come. And it was just a really touching story. Both him and the commentary team that were interviewing were both quite choked up. So it's a really nice story, the way that golf can bring you full circle and take you back to that position and really see how far you've come. So Richard Hodge, my son's pick, he's gone Lascan 20, Lovemark 20. Is it Jamie Lovemark? Wow, over from the PGA Tour. And then Robert Rock 40, De La Riva 20. Dad's gone Lawrence, Molinari, Rock, Howe. He loves a bit of David Howe. And a bit of Lawrence, actually, to be fair. Picked him a couple of weeks running. So how are we doing with the picks, Ryan? Are you getting them through okay? I know you can sort of hear me, sort of not. So what's everybody else been up to? Did everybody else enjoy the Open? What was the best parts? What was your best highlight of the Open Championship? For me, it had to be Friday afternoon. I know he was missing the cut, but when Tiger walked up 18, that ovation got louder and louder and louder. And then the emotion finally got to him. Never seen that from him before on course, other than when he tapped in and won the Open just after his dad had died. That was the only other emotion you've ever seen him give out. So it was really, really good. Obviously very classy of Rory and the other boys going in the other direction to stand, caps off, applaud. It just shows the level of respect that Tiger, that the guys have for Tiger as well. So Richard Hodges in. So he's got Ramsey, Otegi and Southgate. So we've gone 30, 60, 10 split. Is it the last time we see Tiger at the Open? No, I don't think it is the last time we see him at the Open. I do think he'll be back for Opens to come. I do think that'll be the last time at St Andrews, however. But as long as he can stay half fit, I think he'll play as many majors as he can, just in case. He'll play some other bits and pieces. But yeah, be a very, very limited schedule. But I do think he sort of fancies his chances of doing okay at an Open if it stays that firm and he can get it round. Barkley Brown posting 68 4-under as an amateur. Yes, yeah, played so good. And what a hat game he had first day. Big bucket hat on, loving it. Absolutely rocking it out on in the first few groups out, I believe, from memory. So he's definitely out around about sort of the 6:30, 7 o'clock mark on the first day. Anybody else got any big picks from the Open? Like, has anybody played St Andrews? Anybody now like wanting to plan a trip to St Andrews? Definitely made me want to go. We were sort of due to go a couple of years ago, but that all got cancelled because of this thing called COVID that Simon currently has, which is why I'd imagine there's some difficulties in what he's been doing today. So yes, Simon currently has it for the second time. So that's him and Ryan both with a double helping of the COVID. So Dommy Rowe, he's gone Ollison, Ramsey, Armitage, York, and then we've got. He's first out with Paul Lawrie, was he? Yeah, I knew it was early. So yeah, and what a special thing for Paul Lawrie to be able to open, hit the opening shot at St Andrews in the 150th. That will, I'd imagine, will live long in the memory, just as much as winning it. Obviously, that thing of really getting those goosebumps going, even though it was 6:30 in the morning. Ian Poulter nearly missing his opening tee shot left was quite funny at that point. I did think at one point that was going to go out of bounds to the left. So yes. So if anybody else got any picks, I know the boys haven't come back to me just yet, so we'll give them a bit of a hurry up. Got any picks, lads? So we've still got Ben Swanson, Adzi, Savo, all those boys to be having a pick. So we hopefully get golf at a normal time, just like the Open. So that was the only other thing, like just trying to keep it on our shores for this week with the picks. So we've got the Cazoo, and then they go to Hero, which is back up in Scotland. So more links golf back up in Scotland the following week. But we'll have to see what event that coincides with on the PJ Tour and see which side of the pond. So don't forget, keep an eye on both sides, PJ Tour and European Tour, and especially, like, I think, Ryan, you've done really well tonight. You've got your picks in early, you knew who you were picking, and normally more the PJ Tour is more Ryan's bag. Yes, yeah, Bryson did. Yeah, he played very, very well. Sort of a bit of a Rory finish, a bit of a backdoor top 5, and it's that thing of, yeah, he hit a lot of irons day one, didn't he? An awful lot of irons with it, and even the commentary team were a bit surprised of how many irons he hit off the tee. So perhaps he wasn't quite as gung ho as he could have been. And obviously, other rumours that have come out this week with Cam Smith possibly going to live, which is not good. Well, good for him, because he's got 90 million coming apparently. So Marcus is in with Ollison 10, Jordan 10, Plant 40, Brown 40. Is that Alfie Plant? He was the low amateur a couple of years ago at the Open, I believe. How are you, Marcus? How's the golf? I heard you played with Kev and Ben the other day, or we're going to play with them the other day. And how are you getting on? Have you decided to rekindle the love for it? Ryan, why don't you tell everybody in the chat what your new current handicap is? He's had a little chopperoo this week. What have we gone down to, Ryan? So if anybody hasn't got their picks in now, we're probably going to wrap it up pretty quickly, because obviously just me here, so not many people to bounce some ideas off. I was out in the course today and it was hot. Yes, it was very, very warm. Yep, so guys, obviously if you're watching this back and you want to put your picks in, get them in the comments down below. Ryan will pick those up from here. So without any further ado, I think that's enough babbling on from me. It's quite hard to do it by yourself, and nobody to back and forth with, but we'll be back. Normal service will be resumed next week. Perhaps I'll try and run it just so I get a little bit more used to it, but Simon will be there, Ryan will be there, so it'll be a bit more bouncing backwards and forwards. As always, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you guys in the next video very, very soon. I've got some coming this week. Instruction coming your way. Guys, have a great week. See you soon.